Good evening. My name is Dr. Dixon Admahukisi, former Member of Parliament for Anyaso, and I'm very excited to discuss a few things with you this evening. One of it is mainly my reason for joining Dr. Bryan Acheampong, and I'm hoping that by the time I'm done, I can elaborate two or three key things that would excite you about voting for Dr. Bryan Acheampong. Well, I think one of the key things that drew me to Dr. Bryan Acheampong is the fact that former President Kufuor said one very important thing during the inauguration of the institution for NPP at the party headquarters. He said that the very key thing for a political party is to be able to obtain the executive power and authority. And without the executive power, all the people within the party will have no place to really make use of their knowledge base. And I think that if we intend to win power in 2028 as a party, then Dr. Bryan Acheampong stands tall. And I say this because he's an embodiment of the academics that we see in Dr. Baumia, and then the business prowess, and even more that we see in Kennedy Ejipong. So really, we're proffering or proposing a candidate to Ghanaians who is truly an embodiment of the two best things that we have in this country, which is somebody who's with academic prowess and then somebody who has a business acumen. And I think that it affords him the opportunity to take very bold and powerful decisions, which the nation needs at this point in time. And I believe that looking at his personal life choices, business decisions that he's made over the years, and his political experience, he, in totality, has what it takes to be president and do the job. And you see, we also believe that the huge deficit that the MPP has, and this is known to everybody, huge deficit, close to 2 million votes that never showed up. Presenting this new candidate, Dr. Bryan Acheampong, gives us an opportunity to excite the base and the youth, who are a huge majority of voters in 2028, to then come out and vote for the MPP for us to win power. Now, you'd wonder why him. One key thing, he's bold, very decisive, and his military background, which we cannot discount, makes him far more better a disciplinarian. And at this point in time in our party, with so many rancor, people talking without decorum, people going in all different directions. In fact, we need him for that reason to sanitize the party, instill discipline, return to the base, and return the party itself to the grassroots. They are the owners, they are the king and queen makers. And we believe that the huge disconnect at the top hierarchy from the grassroots will be merged. And looking at his young age, he stands tall. And I always reserve this comment that if we want someone who is very youthful, very connected to the youth, understands youth issues, and if we want somebody who is solutions oriented, then Dr. Bryan Acheampong will be our solution to many of the issues in this country. And I say this with the greatest of respect in the sense that he has a proven track record of using softwares to better the lives of people in this country. And out of his software production, which we all know, he's been able to now work with his IT knowledge in other countries outside of Ghana. And let me say this that out of that, he's also done real estate and hotel industry. And I think that the evidence is there. It's not just talk. He's a known colossal figure. and he will do us much good. I've told people that it takes someone with very good ideas to make money, and I believe that his workmanship is unique, very tangible. You can feel it and you can touch it, and it's not just about ideas, but ideas that work and ideas that can generate revenue. And I think that that is a very important thing. So, looking at his track record, he will help with youth employment. He'll help with our food security in this country. And mind you, his doctorate is in security and intelligence, and I can attest to the fact that our country is seriously in need of retooling of our security apparatus in this country. And I think that we cannot discount an individual who will improve on police service, army, all the security services in this country. And our backbone is defense. If you can't defend, the country will be, as it is, ransacked and taken for nothing. And that moves me into the key challenge we have now in this country, which is jobs, galamsey, and amongst other things, our health infrastructure and then our roads. And I think that looking at what he's doing now, especially with the airport in Abetifi, single-handedly, I'm very impressed. And if there was a Terminal 3 annex, Abetifi stands tall. And I'm impressed about the fact that it has the longest runway in the world, not just in Africa, in the world. And when an individual single-handedly gets on such a project, including the biggest hotel in Africa, then I must say kudos to him. And because of the bold ideas and things he's done, I firmly believe that he will perform and perform very well. Before the 2024, I worked with Alan until he broke away from the party, and I maintained my stance within the party, and I supported at the time the flag bearer when the elections was done, and we supported up to the end. And in fact, let me add that the likes of Bryan Acheampong supported in huge quantums financially, in spirit, and in works. But it is the results, the poor performance, not just of the party, but the candidate, which had Dr. Bryan Acheampong take this very difficult but bold decision. And I must admit, it was not a decision lightly taken, because this is somebody who he supported wholeheartedly, except for the fact that we believe strongly that though the party has issues, and I repeat this, because of our governance, we had issues, but there was also a candidature issue. In that sense, the overall party members of parliament got more votes than the candidate, in the extent that we won 88 seats and then won in the presidential 77. And I must say this with the greatest of respect, that if we intend to win 2028, a candidate that can perform much better in Greater Accra, which is a very pivotal place for the next election, is Dr. Bryan Acheampong. And let me admit on record that the performance of the former flag bearer during the primaries and the general election in Greater Accra was not the best. Quite quite not the best. I think that I must admit that Dr. Bryan Acheampong uh, impresses me by virtue of the team that he puts together to do things. And I must say that looking at the team of expertise he has in terms of his campaign messaging, it will certainly translate into policy. And he is one person that believes in allowing many people to have a sit and dive deep into matters before he brings them out. And I must admit that even as at now, his works are showing in the sense that what he contributed to within the agricultural industry is known to many people in terms of loan agreement changes, in terms of cocoa pricing, and it's on record that it is during his tenure under the leadership of Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo that we got the highest ever increment in cocoa prices. And in addition, took a bold decision to leave syndicated loans. So I must say that he has a proven track record. His knowledge in terms of his masters in business administration, amongst other masters that he has, makes him very well qualified in terms of someone who will think through with people and take decisions in the best interest of the Ghanaian people. And I think that his relatability to the ordinary person in terms of the ordinary person's challenges is very critical and makes him a very practical man with solutions, solutions based. And I think that it is very clear in interacting with Dr. Bryan Acheampong that based on the several years under studying others, the likes of J. A. Kufuor, the likes of Jacob Bichebilante, through to Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo and others, he stands well equipped, able to do, more than able to do. And I'll support him any day. He has the credentials, the knowledge, the resources, and and in opposition, don't joke with having a resourceful person to lead you. Very important. So with regards to polling, I'm a very scientific person. I believe in polls, except that it should be done timely and at the appropriate time. And what I mean by that is that there was a baseline done, and that is before the new entrants could go and meet with delegates or voters. A very true picture will be when every new candidate has had a chance to go through all the 276 constituencies. I think that will be the very best time to have a truest picture of the sentiments, the alignment of the people with any of the visions that are being espoused. And I believe that the future polling will be a bit more close to the true picture. As it stands now, I've told many that when the likes of Dr. Bryan Acheampong and Dichum, who were initially with the former vice president, have left, you can't be getting 72%. It's just not possible for somebody that got in the 60s to now be getting in the 72s when you've actually rather lost the likes of Educhum, former MP who was in charge of local governance, and I mean the Common Fund Administrator. So when you lose people, colossal people, the same mindset that leads them to a departure will certainly drop your numbers. So I certainly want to see how the polls look like first week of December or second week of December or third week of December. I think that will be more of a truer picture. Until then, it's early days yet. Well, let's admit that misinformation is part of politics. You either gain from it or lose from it. We are committed under the leadership of Dr. Bryan Acheampong to not misinform the public. People actually rather are happy to hear us go into areas that are difficult to discuss. The likes of the fact that in Greater Accra, out of the 34 constituencies, the presidency we got only two. The fact that there are 7 constituencies or so that we did not win a single seat presidential, and these are very important factors that need to be looked at in assessing who becomes the next leader. We also bear in mind what they call the 10 sins of all the candidates, and the fact that people will talk and talk and talk. But I must admit that if you go into what NPP stands for, the true tradition of the party, it is Dr. Bryan Acheampong, and he's an embodiment of the two leading characters. And we believe that if we intend to have somebody who can unify us, then it is Dr. Bryan Acheampong, because the likes of the Abronyas and the Kennedy Ejapong followers are going to find it difficult to work for one or two. And for that reason, I think that largely we all should rally around Dr. Bryan Acheampong for victory. All right. So one key thing, we admit, whether you like it or not, this is politics. It's not a friendly game. It's like a sports game. There's rivalry. There'll be a few jabs here and there, but some may go too low, and we're hoping that the referees will call them to order. Insults, you never hear me insult anybody. I'm under the tutelage of Dr. Bryan Acheampong. He abhors it. He doesn't like it. And more importantly, after their meeting with the former president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, it's been made very clear to us under the leadership of Dr. Bryan Acheampong that we should hold our horses. We should turn down. Though the urge to respond to some of the insults may come, we're supposed to calm it down and be rather a force for bringing people together. We do not support insulting. We do not support misinformation. We rather want to educate people and inform them so that they make informed decisions. And flagship wise, one of the key things that Dr. Bryan Acheampong is telling our delegates, and mind you, you need to win the flag bearership first, then you work on to presidency. But one key thing is that he said that let's measure everybody by their works. Okay, and let me admit on record that when it comes to technological advancement, that is his field. And he's worked with it over the years. His work is being utilized in many countries, and there's evidence. Okay, so what he is saying is that measure me by my field of work, measure everybody. And then also, whilst we were in government, for instance, one person was economic management team, measure him by his work. I was a great minister for a short period. What did I do to food prices? In fact, many people would know that it was during Dr. Bryan Acheampong's period that food pricing was a bit stable. Prior to his coming, the prices were very erratic. So I can admit here on record that one, despite his improvement in cocoa prices for farmers, food prices were much more stable under his leadership during just the over 12 months that he served as a great minister. And that is remarkable. If he had come much earlier, who knows? Our food security would have been much better. He identified things that he thought we should be able to do in this country: tomatoes, onions, and amongst others. He didn't understand why we should be importing them. So I think that in terms of policy, when we come to the NPP, which is a very important aspect now before we move into the national, he's bent on making sure that his dealing with our grassroots will be more direct, and he believes firmly in being able to help impact people direct, not through somebody, not through organizations, not through hierarchy, but direct. And I think that that will cut down the red tape within the party, and certainly his militaristic mindset will help. Military is not too superfluous. Military is direct about many of the things that they do. And I think that if you look at how they send signals to their compadres, it will be the same way. He'll make sure that wherever your station is, the intel that needs to come to you will come to you direct. And I think that is profound and a game changer for the voting population. Well, with the Galamsey fight, the best measurable point for me is in the water. So if the turbidity in the water is worse than we were at last year, then I think that's the truest measure, not what anybody tells me. So if Ghana Water now cannot do desilting, if Ghana Water Company is struggling to provide drinking water in Chibi, Takrade, Western region, then the verdict is out there, and I think there's nothing else you can tell me that will convince me that what you're doing is better until there are measurable things like our water bodies getting better. So I would think that not necessarily activities, but responsible activities. And for that matter, much is being done. And I'm hoping that the death of the 8 men who were in relation to Galamsey would always be on the president's mind as he takes decisions. And invariably, I must admit, we should not politicize Galamsey, and we have to fight it and do better. And I stand by what Dr. Bryan Acheampong has recommended, that if we should stop mining for 90 days, at least, we can reverse naturally some of the issues with our water bodies, which now are terrible, 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 laced with mineral elements that are cancer causing. And it is now in our foods, for crying out loud. So more can be done, more is expected, and more has to be done. I think that, admittedly, like I said, the water changes now have gotten out of hand. Things have worsened, and in desperation, desperate measures are required. We've never been for quote unquote state of emergency, but rather appropriate measures to curb or stop the further deterioration of our environment, the further destruction of human lives through chemicals that are entering our food. And this is not the time to debate how early. Better late than never. If he didn't say something then, maybe he was saying it in cabinet. And things said in cabinet are not always brought out. So he vented his frustration in cabinet, in meetings, but as appropriate or as governance would have it, you allow the minister responsible for that to be the sole person, uh, you know, doing the talking. And we have to respect that. when you are in government. So everybody has always registered their dissatisfaction with Galamsey, which is illegal mining. And we are at a point where it is quite severe, very bad. Hence, his call for a 90-day, only 3 months, so that some curtailing of the further destruction will happen. We are hoping that, within that time, further better consultations would have been done, so that when we restart, we'll start off on a better footing. Well, I must admit that they made a lot of noise compared to now. Now that they're governing, it almost appears that they've forgotten all the noise they made about LGBTQ. Maybe reality has dawned on them about the externalities related and the fact that these are human lives and these are people who are brothers, sisters, cousins, and must be managed cautiously using both cultural lens, religious lens, and a humanistic lens to address it. And maybe we've always argued that we have almost adequate things on our records for managing LGBTQ. And for that reason, Ghana's preoccupation should be about how to get safe, quality drinking water to the average person. And Galamsey will kill us far more than LGBTQ as it stands. So we need to prioritize the things that matter for Ghana. Well, I mean, listen, policies have its pros and cons. So the language, how the LGBT bill is carved out, would either be a plus for you or a minus for you, and has the need for financial considerations. And I think that it is right and important that the Ministry of Finance and International Affairs, and I mean Foreign Affairs, be hugely part of carving out the appropriate message for the times, and that I cannot discount. I was one of the very first few people to encourage our Speaker of Parliament to be mindful of his statements with regards to the LGBTQ, so as to not adversely impact our international, or as it is, foreign relations, because you need to be mindful of how other countries see it or manage it. I think the mother tongue should be handled like the Makaranta. And what I mean by that is that there should be an after school program where your children can go and study pure Ga, pure Tree, pure Hausa. And that one would be a voluntary choice by the parents. And I think that if your father or mother is Voltarian and you want to learn it, government can rather improve on those sessions outside of school curriculum for their children to do that. If I go to Germany tomorrow and I want to learn German, there's a school for it, either morning or evening or afternoon classes. And I think we can apply same so as to not interfere or disrupt the already challenging educational system. It can so happen that you might not even have enough teachers for a language like Ga, in Greater Accra. So why not have a few people focus on teaching that and then have many people concentrate on going there? I think that would be probably the best and easiest approach. And in doing all of this, you support heavily the institutes of language in this country with words and in deeds and in funds. And then I'll be much happier with that approach. I think I would comment on UP maybe after our internal primaries. As it stands now, it has no bearing on the NPP's internal primaries. It has no bearing at all. And we will, as it is, focus largely on winning the presidential primaries within the NPP. UP, which is looking at rebranding the UP tradition, will be looked at a certain date when we're done with the internal primaries. I'm hopeful that some leadership agreement can be arrived at after we've finished the primaries. My guys, as it stands now, this one they beg everybody. They beg you guys. Is a one-time opportunity to do it right. And I always worry about the young ones not helping the young. And I think that the young guns should help the young man, Dr. Bryan Acheampong. Based on his track record, he will do far better for us as a nation. And he's a boy's boy. And I think that we'll enjoy him and he'll make MPP great and great and strong. And that is why I'm of a firm belief that if our youth should rally around him and bring him, the whole country will stand to benefit from Dr. Bryan Acheampong. It's a very solid brand. It's growing day and day in and day out. It's growing. And join us and let's make history. Thank you very much. My final words. Once again, Dr. Dixon Admahukisi, former Member of Parliament for the people of Anya Sotum. I continue to dabble in politics because overall, the choices we make matter and it impacts our lives and your lives. And I believe that we should make the right choice of bringing a candidate who can win us power or who can put us in the executive position. And for that matter, I recommend Dr. Bryan Acheampong. Thanks for listening to me. Make it a wonderful weekend.